Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Trading Tips with the Swinging Bull. It's about 1 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday. Basically, we'll just be going over some basic trading tips, things of that nature, buy-in method. We can go over some useful information that we can find on Finviz and that kind of thing. If you have any questions, and you're listening on Discord, feel free to type it into free live stream chat, and I'll answer those questions right away for you. And if you're listening on YouTube, feel free to post any comments in the YouTube comment section, and I'll get to those comments right away. So the first thing I wanted to go over is the buy-in method. Okay, so let me pull up an easy chart here. If you're looking at my screen, we're going to go to Ford. I think Ford's a good one. I do like Ford long term here. I'm going to put up the daily chart on Ford. As you can see, Ford's been trading in a downward channel for quite some time here. Basically, ever since we hit a high in January, we hit a high of around 25 bucks. It kind of sold off there at the end of January, and now we've been trading in this channel ever since January. So the ideal scenario when trading Ford is we want to try and catch Ford at the bottom of this channel because we have this downtrending support line on the bottom line of this channel. And this is where we want to try and pick up shares of Ford. You don't want to go in too heavy. This would be like your first entry. So if we can pick it up on the bottom of the channel, maybe just buy a little bit of it. And what we're looking for is a break of this top channel line. Once we can break this top channel line to the upside, maybe even get a retest. So this top resistance line on this channel here was acting like resistance. If we can push through to the upside, now it's going to hopefully act as support. And if we get a retest and then a bounce to the upside, that's where we want to put our bigger buy there and try and get the upward momentum. So I wanted to pull something else up and just kind of explain the buy-in method. So let me pull up a Microsoft Word document here. So let's say that you had a $4,000 total portfolio. Okay, let me make these words a little bit bigger so everyone can see it. We'll go to 20 here. So I'm just going to type this out so you can see it. Let's say you had a $4,000 portfolio that you wanted to trade with. The ideal strategy for how you're going to use that $4,000 when trading is each alert that you take or each position that you want to get into. I would recommend only using 10% of your portfolio for each play. Okay. So 10% of your portfolio on a $4,000 portfolio, this is going to be $400 that we should feel comfortable with allocating to a play. Okay, so I have it typed out there right on my screen so you can see it clearly. $4,000 portfolio. You want to only use 10% of your portfolio for each play. So let me type that out. And so that's going to be $400 for each play. Okay. Now, out of that $400 that you feel comfortable allocating to each play, I would break that up into at least 4 different entries. Okay. So out of that $400, if we have 4 different or 4 separate entries, 4 separate entries is going to equal $100 each entry. Okay. So 4 entries separate, it's going to be $100. All right. And once you enter 4 different entries at $100, then that's going to be $100 100% of the $400. All right. So that's what we recommend. It's just a good rule of thumb. Some people do 10%, for each entry, and they'll have 10 different buys. So if that's the case, then you're going to do $40 for each entry. But me personally, I like the 4 entries out of the 400, and that's going to be $100 per an entry. So it's a really good, safe way to play there. And again, we're not adding entries just because we are red, okay? So let me type that out. We're not adding entries just because the position is red, okay? So keep that in mind. It's very important. So what we're doing is we are adding entries when it's at a support level. So we got that typed out there. So that's when we're adding, okay? We're not adding because it's red. We're adding when price action is at a support level, okay? So for instance, on this Ford play here, we could add a $100 entry at the bottom of when the price hits the bottom of this channel, and then if we do get a break to the upside, I would feel comfortable going ahead and adding another entry then. But you don't want to add 100% of your portfolio until we can get out of this 100% of your allocation. I'm sorry, not your portfolio. You don't want to add 100% of your allocation until we can get a break of this trend line to the upside. All right. So before that happens, you should only be putting one entry in there. Okay. So that's a good example of the. All right, sorry about that, Fergie. I just had to mute you there for the recording. If you have any questions, feel free to type it into free live stream chat. Again, yeah, if anyone has any questions, feel free to let me know. Another thing I wanted to go over is some good useful tools that you can use. I think you should bookmark these web addresses when I give them to you. The first one is the heat map. I like looking at this in the morning. And you can easily find the heat map. If I'm going to highlight if you're looking at my screen here, it's finviz.com/map. Okay. So if you want to go ahead and type that in, and then you can you can save it as a bookmark. Okay. Bookmark this tab, and I just call it the heat map. All right. And then that way you can easily get to it by just going to your address book, and there it is right there, heat map. All right, I love this tool a lot. I like looking at it in the morning, maybe a little bit after the bell rings, maybe around 10 a.m. Eastern. Bell rings at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Around 10 a.m., you can go ahead and pull up the heat map because before the bell rings at 9:30 a.m., the information on the heat map is going to be from the previous trading day. So wait about 30 minutes until after market open, and then you can go ahead and pull up the heat map and kind of see, possibly what direction the market as a whole is going to. All right, so really easy and free website here, finviz.com/map. It's a free heat map. I like looking at this after the trading day begins, about 30 minutes or so after the bell rings, and you can get an idea, what the market's doing. And in this example, this is today's heat map. It's about 1:10 p.m. Eastern now. And as you can see, the whole market is doing really well right now, just by looking at the heat map. You don't even have to look at anything else. You can just look at the heat map and see how the market's doing. We do have Meta platforms, which is Facebook. They're down 1.76%. Netflix is also down 1.76%. That's kind of funny. They're both down the exact same amount here. But you can kind of just take your cursor and kind of hover over some of the red ones, see what stocks they are. But overall, we're definitely in a very green day today. The SPY, for example, today is up 2.66%. You can see it right here. Another tool I like using on Finviz, I'll just stick with Finviz here, is just go to, if you ever want to look up fundamental financial data about any ticker, just go to finviz.com. So we just talked about the heat map, which is finviz.com/map. Well, if you just go to regular finviz.com, just go to the home page, you can type any ticker you want into this search bar. And again, that you don't need an account. I'm not even logged in. You can see right here. This is all free information, you guys. So We'll just type in Apple, for example, and here it is. It pops right up, and then it gives us a nice chart to look at right there, right when we type it in and press enter. And then below the chart, this is where we're going to see a lot of the financial data. Okay, we can see how many shares are outstanding. We can see how much is in their float. Okay, here's the float. And then you can also see how much of their float is shorted. And in this example with Apple, 0.7% of the float is shorted. So we can find that information right here on Finviz. All right. And it also gives you some target prices of compared to what it's trading at now. Apple is, let's go ahead and go to Apple. Apple's trading at 136 right now. And Finviz is putting out some target information that it does have a potential to maybe go to 187.43. Now, this obviously is going to be a long-term target because, of course, Apple's only trading at 136 right now, and that's a pretty hefty target there. So, but lots of good financial data. We got all the earnings per share information. We can look at how many insiders own Apple. Insider transactions were down negative 1.67%. You can find out how many institutions own Apple. As you can see, just by looking at this Finviz data, we got 59.7% of institutional ownership. I like seeing stocks that have over 50% institutional ownership. That's basically telling us that they're very confident in the stock, and we always like to see institutional ownership above 50%, especially when you're trying to swing trade this. Okay, and then we got return on assets, return on equity, that kind of thing. So lots of great data in Finviz, and you can see what the market cap is. You can see their income compared to their sales. So that's really good to look at. So 386 billion in sales, and their income was 101 billion. So that's always good to look at that. All right, and of course the PE ratio. Those are very important. Me personally, I like seeing stocks that have a PE ratio of let's say a positive number at the very least. So a PE ratio of 1 to 30 would be ideal. The higher the PE ratio, the more chances are it could be overvalued and that kind of thing. So you definitely want to watch out for high PE ratios. I was looking at a stock the other day. It had a PE ratio of like 60 something. And that just tells me that, that stock might be it might be overvalued just because the PE ratio is so high. And that's price to earnings ratio. Okay, so be careful of very, very high PE ratios. But me personally, if it's between 1 and 30, I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so keep your eye on PE ratio. Keep your eye on how much their sales are and how much of those sales actually become into income for the company. And then we also have book value per share numbers that you can look at. Obviously, Apple is a very, very popular stock. So they're going to be a lot higher than their book for share value. And it also gives you dividend information. So and it tells you if they have options on it. It tells you if you can short the stock. So as you can see, just go into finviz.com, type the ticker symbol right here into the search bar. You get lots of valuable information on Finviz. All right, so great tool there. Make sure you bookmark it. Again, it's finviz.com/map to get a free heat map every day that you can look at. Gives you a great idea how the market's going for that day. And then, of course, just regular finviz.com. Go ahead and bookmark that. You can just call the bookmark like fundamentals or financials, stock financials or something like that. And then you have very, very quick access to look at some current financial data for that stock. The next tool I wanted to go over is a simple website called barchart.com. Okay, so you can save that into your address book as well. And what this gives us is you know, go ahead and bookmark barchart.com/stocks/sectors/rankings. Once you get all that typed out, just go ahead and bookmark it, and then that way you can just click it once in your address in your bookmark bar, and then go straight to it. So what this gives us is the trending sector information. So for example, we're looking at today. There's a drop down here. You can change the time frame if you want, but we can just look at for now, we can just look at what the sectors are trending for today. And as you can see, the S&P, and now this barchart.com, this sector information is gonna go off of the S&P 500 index. Okay, the sectors that are in there, which is a very broad range of sectors, basically covers all of the sectors in the stock market. All right, and of course today is a very green day, so the S&P 500 index is up almost 2.5% or more. So leading the pack, we do have energy again. They've been kind of hot for the past 6 months to a year. Big sector there that's just been running pretty good. Of course, today they're up over 5%. Consumer discretionary, information technology. I mean, basically every sector is green today. But me personally, I like looking at the top 3 sectors. What's the top 3 that are running the pack, and then also the bottom 3. I like to see, you know, what's not doing well. Even though looking at today's sector information, all the sectors are green. So these bottom 3, you know, it's not necessarily that they're doing bad, you know, because they're still green. They're just not doing as good as some of these sectors that are in the top of this list here. And then, of course, if you're interested in seeing what sectors maybe, you know, how they've been doing for 2022, you can just click this drop down, go to year to date, let it go ahead and refresh. And as you can see, 2022 has been a really rough year for us as traders. So you could just go to year to date, and you can see, you know, the sectors, especially these bottom 3 here, consumer discretionary, communication services, and IT, really have just been getting hit hard this year. And you can see that just by looking at this sector information. They're down quite a bit this year. All right, so when the market does find the bottom, well, you know, the 3 sectors that have been hit the most, you know, these might be some good ones to look at, to maybe find some good deals out there, since they were hit the hardest this year. And then, of course, the top 3, you know, we got energy. It's up 38% for the year. I mean, you probably could have picked any energy company in January and maybe parked some money in there, and you'd be up really good right now. And then, of course, utilities, even though they're down for the year, they're not as down as some of these bottom ones. Consumer staples, that these are companies that sell, like, you know, basic need stuff, you know, food, clothing, beverages, stuff like that, which means it doesn't matter how the economy is doing, people are always going to buy from consumer staple companies, because they sell you know, basic need type items. Let me just check YouTube real quick, make sure we don't have no comments there. Looks like we're good there. Does anyone have any questions? Maybe something I can go over in particular. If not, we can just keep looking at some charts here. We also have, okay, so this is the free section. If you guys do end up in the premium section, there is a 22 class education, stock and option education program in the premium section. If you're watching on YouTube, I have a link in the description where you can easily join our free Discord, and we do give out a lot of free information in our free Discord as well. We give out free trading alerts, and we do have some free education in there, and we also have a free crypto section as well. So let's go back to the charts here. Of course, I have Apple pulled up here. We can go over the basics, maybe some day trading basics. A lot of people are day trading right now, just because it's been a pretty volatile market to be swing trading. So we're doing a lot of day trading. And just to kind of sum it up, you know, we're looking for days that are trending. So I call them like trend days. As you can see, this is the SPY. This basically mirrors the S&P 500 index. So this is called the SPY. and you are able to day trade the SPY, whether through the actual SPY stock or SPY options. The stock, it's going to be pretty expensive to buy shares of SPY because it's trading at 375 right now. So we actually day trade the SPY using options, option contracts, which allows us to control 100 shares of SPY by buying one contract, and then you pay a small premium to buy that contract to be able to control that 100 shares. And what we're looking for when we're day trading SPY options is basically we're trading the premium on the contracts. So let's say when market opened, let's say you waited 30 minutes to see if there was any volatility, and then right around 10 o'clock you notice, okay, we're still trending up. You could have probably bought some SPY call options maybe around 10 o'clock, and as you can see, the price of SPY was around 373 or so, and as you can see, it never really went below that again. So ideally you could still be in those SPY calls. Me personally, I would have probably took profit when it hit 376 up here off of that SPY option. But that's basically just the basics of what we're doing every day when we're day trading options. Okay, we're looking for trends. We're looking for trend line breaks. So I can go ahead and draw a trend line on SPY for what it did this morning. I'll use the extended line. So ideally, we could probably have something maybe like let's bring it to right here. So the price action obviously pulled away from this trend line and was a little exhausted there, but it eventually came back to it. Now, once the price action breaks this trend line to the downside, which it did right here at 11 a.m., this is ideally where we want to take profit on the calls. And then once the price action goes to the downside of this trend line, well, this could be confirmation to go ahead and get into some put options. So we could have played puts to the downside here. And let me just make another trend line, mark it like maybe here to about there. And so this is our second trend line. Let me make this a different color. We can make this green. So this blue trend line, we could have played calls in the morning, and then price action breaks below the trend line. Here's the green line going down. This is where we played puts until the trend line breaks again. And as you can see, we're going back up now. So 3 different scenarios here to day trade options on SPY. So we could have did calls in the morning until the trend line broke, which it did. And then we played puts on this green line until that breaks, which it did here. So we would take profit around here. And now we could have jumped in calls. So this would have been a third day trade. So I just plotted out 3 different day trades that you could have done playing options with SPY. So I know this might be maybe a little complicated because this is supposed to be trading tips and basics, but I just wanted to give you guys an idea of how we're day trading some of these stocks here. If you are using Webull as a broker, I know I was showing you the Finviz information before, which if you just go to the homepage of Finviz, type in the ticker, gives us all this financial data, which is great to be able to do some due diligence on the stock. But if you're just using Webull and you want to get access to some quick information, I'll even go to the one chart setup here so it looks a little more simpler. And here's the one chart setup here. So what you do, this is Ford Motor Company, to get some fundamental financial information quickly through Webull. You're just going to go to this key statistics area, and then this is where we can find out, their PE ratio, okay, which is right here. We can look at the EPS data, which is good to look at. Also has the free float data, tells you how many shares are outstanding, gives you a dividend yield, 52-week high, 52-week low. I like looking at that information. So Ford's 52-week low was $10.90. could be a good area to pick up some shares, since that would be the lowest point in the past 52 weeks. And then we know we have an upside of possibly $25. So Ford could definitely be a good play for long term, but that's just a quick and easy way to look up some quick key statistical data there if you're trying to figure out whether you should be swing trading it or day trading it or what have you. Another good place to look would be the financial section on Webull. Okay, so this is going to give us a debt to asset ratio, and then you can look at total assets. So for example, Q1 of 2022, Ford Motor Company had 252 billion in assets, which is fantastic. And then you can compare that to how much liabilities they had, which they had 207 billion of liabilities. But as you can see, the assets is more than the liability. That's what we're looking for, everyone. We want to see them have more assets than liabilities. Okay, so that's good information to look at there. And then you can actually click on the I also like looking at the income statement. So we could look at the total revenue. So Q1 of 2022, Ford had total revenue of 34 billion. And then we can go over here and click on net income. And as you can see, they were a little underwater Q1 of 2022. Their net income was negative. I still like Ford in general as a company. So I'm not letting this Q1 2022 net income results scare me. A lot of companies were down at the beginning of this year due to coming out of the pandemic and stuff like that. And of course, we have the war in Ukraine and Russia and all that stuff. High inflation, mortgage rates are rising. This year in general, it's just been a tough year for swing trading and stuff like that. So we just want to be careful. But I like looking at the balance sheet, and then we can go to the statement over here, and this will actually tell us how much cash they have in the bank. I love looking at this kind of statistical data here, this financial data, because if they have a lot of money in the bank, you're probably going to feel you're going to be a little more safer as far as the company doing offerings and stuff like that. Most companies that do public offerings are in need of cash. So when they do have a lot of cash in the bank, that gives me some confidence that this is going to be a safe play because they have a lot of money in the bank. All right. So just remember, you can always check out the key statistical data to get a lot of fundamental and financial data. And then, of course, go to the actual financial tab, and you can get a lot of great data on the financial tab. So lots of good info there. If this is basically just different tools for you to be able to do some due diligence on some of these stocks before you swing trade them or even day trade them. So just good things to keep your eye on there. I was talking about Amazon the other day. I actually picked up some shares on Friday, last Friday, and they were trading at, I think I got a pretty good deal on it. Last Friday was June 7th, June 17th. So here we are on the chart, and I picked some up around the $105 per share level. When Amazon did their forward split not a couple weeks ago, they actually ended up spiking a little bit to about the 120 range. We'll have to look at some smaller time frames to look at that, but I can maybe scroll back here. Yeah, because the forward split, the Webull chart's kind of all janky right now. But they did, you can kind of see it right here. They did end up trading in the 120 area. I purposely waited, and because I knew there was going to be a dip, and sure enough, last Friday, they were trading in the 105 area. I thought that was a good deal for Amazon, so I picked up some shares for my retirement account on Amazon. And as you can see, they're trading at around 109 right now. So I'm already up, and that was just my first entry that I did last Friday. So there are a lot of great deals out there. As far as the market in general, let me just delete some of these drawings because I know there's a lot going on here. Delete. So we're kind of just waiting to find some sort of bottom in the market. Here's the SPY. Again, this goes off of the S&P 500 index. Here was COVID. When COVID hit, this was around March of 2020. As you can see, SPY sold off quite a bit. So my point being is SPY, add SPY to your watch list. Definitely add SPY. I got it on a couple different watch lists, but just watching SPY every day is going to give you a good indication on how the market's doing in general. So of course, after COVID, we had that major drop in March of 2020. For the remainder of 2020 and a lot of 2021, you can see we were in a major bull run there, and here we are, 2022, kind of paying for that a little bit right now. And as you can see, just looking at SPY from January, we are in a downtrend, you guys, and we have not recovered from this downtrend. So there's going to be some key points that we need to look at. We can even take this low that it hit the other day, which was 362. Go ahead and make that a little bit brighter. So ideally, let me go ahead and draw a top line as well. We could probably do something like this down to here. And let me make this a little bit brighter there. Okay, so ideally for the market to rebound, we need to see the price action of SPY to go above this downward trend line here, which is the top line of this channel. And as you can see, we actually already did it once. All right, we did it in March, and we had this very nice run in March. It was running for almost 2 weeks, and a lot of people thought we were out of the woods when that happened, because we broke out of the trend line to the top. We're going up. 2 weeks of green action, green daily candles. A lot of people bought some calls when we hit this high up here, thinking that maybe we were out of the woods and maybe this 2022 downtrend was coming to an end. But as you can see, we fell right back into the channel, and here we are. We're doing a lot better today, but last Friday and last Thursday, we were just hovering at the bottom of this channel. And I was hoping that we didn't break to the downside of the channel, because then we would have, seen some really, we would have saw another leg down, possibly to the 350 area, which would have been a little scary for the market in general. But we did bounce. We had this doji candle form last Friday, which ended up being green. I like seeing what the candle is going to be after a doji candle. And for instance, we had this is kind of like a doji candle that we had on last Wednesday. And I was like, oh, I hope, Thursday we get another green candle, and because that's definitely a good sign. But what happened was we ended up getting a red candle, which totally, canceled out this green, somewhat of a doji candle here. So that happened on Thursday, had a big red day. And then last Friday, we get another green doji. All right, so what are we thinking? All right, well, what's the market going to do today on Tuesday? And sure enough, it's a green candle, a nice, very strong green candle. So ideally, we would want another green day tomorrow, obviously, to maybe start forming an uptrend, to maybe get to the top of this channel, hopefully break through the channel, and then we can finally get out of the woods. But still a lot going on in the world. So, anything can happen. And of course, the Feds are going to continue to raise interest rates. I believe the next rate hike's in July. They're going to do another 0.75%. So I think they're going to do quite a few 0.75% hikes for the remainder of this year. So we want to keep our eye on that. And that goes hand in hand with the housing market as well. Does anyone have any questions about anything? We went over the buy-in strategy, just to kind of recap that. If you have a $4,000 portfolio, each play, only 10% of that 4,000 in each play, which will allocate you $400 for each play. Good recommendation. Break it up into 4 buys, so $100 for each buy until you've allocated the whole amount. And we're not adding entries just because the position is red. Very important there. We're only adding at key levels, key support levels. Okay, so keep this in mind for the buy-in strategy. We do have a question coming in on Discord. The Cat of PB says, "Hey, at Swinging Bull, are you able to send me the document you wrote?" Absolutely. I'll send that. I'll DM it to you, and it's just something you can look at every once in a while, just to kind of remind yourself, you know, what you should be doing as far as the buy-in strategy. So, Cat of PB, I'll change this into a PDF form, and I'll DM that to you. Okay, no problem at all there. But yeah, it doesn't look like we have any other questions. It's about 1:37 p.m. Eastern. I know everyone wants to get back to trading and all the fun stuff. So I'll go ahead and end the stream. If you guys think of any questions after the stream, feel free to send me a DM, and I'll be more than happy to answer all that for you. So other than that, I hope all is well, and I'll see you guys in the next video.